What's up? So I just bought this Sony FX3 cinema camera, but I've always been in the Canon ecosystem. So the primary issue is all of my glass is Canon. I've got a bunch of Canon L lenses. So to make that work, I bought this Viltrox adapter. It is the Viltrox EF-NEX IV, and this goes on the Sony body and allows you to put Canon EF lenses on there. So the first thing I noticed about this is it has this little quarter 20 adapter on the bottom. I don't really know why you would ever want to use that, because either you're mounting to the camera, or if you've got a lens heavy enough, you probably would mount directly to the lens, like a 70 to 200. So that's just got an easy thumb screw. I'm going to take that off, and then we're left with just the little Viltrox guy here. If you open this up, on the very top right corner, there's a USB port in here. That's actually where you update the firmware. So first thing I'm going to do is plug this into the computer and update the firmware, and then we'll plug it into the camera and put some lenses on and see what happens. When it comes to updating the firmware, it's just a micro USB connection. However, it seems to be pretty finicky. It took me about 4 or 5 cables before I found one that actually let my computer recognize the adapter. So if it's not working on your first try, or your second try, or your third try, just keep trying different cables until one actually pops it up. It'll pop up as a mounted drive on your computer. You can go to Viltrox.com, download the latest firmware, which for me is version 1.9, and then you just drag and drop that into the folder. It'll self-install, and then you should be good to go. So I'm going to put this on the camera, but first I just want to show off, there's a little switch on the side. You can switch it between CDAF and PDAF. From my understanding, that's contrast detection and phase detection autofocus. I don't really know which one's going to work better, or if they're both even going to work, so we will put this on there and see what happens. So we're going to test 2 lenses on this thing today. I've got the Canon L24-105, and then we've also got the 70-200. So both relatively modern lenses, both work great on my Canon cameras, fast autofocus, so let's see what happens here. So first we're going to put on the 24-105. That locks in nicely, feels stable, feels sturdy, feels like it's meant to mount on this camera. The autofocus is enabled, and it looks like we've also got iris adjustment. That lens works. It's a little bit slower than it is on my Canons. However, the fact that it autofocuses at all is great. Let's see what happens with the bigger one. That's a big lens on a small body, but let's turn it on, see what happens. Iris works, autofocus works, everything feels pretty good. Okay, so this Viltrox EF-NEX IV seems to work pretty well. It lets me focus, lets me adjust my aperture. Those are all I've tested so far. It does not work on the PDAF mode as far as I can tell, so I'm going to have to do some more tests and see if I can get that to work. But CDAF, it seems to work just fine. It's a little bit slower than the Canon cameras directly attached to Canon lenses, but I can't say I'm too surprised about that considering it's a totally different ecosystem. So I'm excited to see what this camera can do, what this adapter allows me to do with my current glass. If you have any tips or questions or things you want me to investigate on this camera, this adapter, or anything else, please let me know. All right, until next time.